I'm going to teach you how to create an onboarding screen using Sketch for Mac. Let's get started. Hi, and thanks for joining. It's Amit from Design Hackers. In this tutorial, we're going to create an onboarding screen inside of Sketch. To get started, I need to open a artboard. To open an artboard quickly, you can press the A key on your keyboard. And on the right side, you'll have all sorts of presets for different device sizes. You can move between Apple and Android and responsive web, whatever you need. I'm going to design it on Apple, and I'm going to choose iPhone 11 since it's pretty popular. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start designing this. Before I do that, I'm just going to change the name of the artboard to Onboarding. And over here, the first thing is to add an image. To add an image, we can just click the quick icon on the top over here. And the image I'm going to select is a background image for my onboarding screen. To make this background 100% width, I'm just going to snap it to the left side. And in the width input on the right side, I'm going to put inside 100%. Then I'm going to click tab to accept my change. And you can see that now the image is 100% width of the artboard. Let's get closer, Command or Control plus, and let's snap this to the top. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this a little bit to the bottom. I want to make it a little higher. So to do that, I'm going to unlink between the width and the height. Let's unlink that. And I'm going to drag this down. For whoever wants to practice, I'm going to include the design files in the description of this video. So great, we got this background going on. I want to add an overlay for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Fill. And over here, I can add a gradient on top of my image. For the gradient colors, I'm going to choose white and white. And the upper white one, I'm going to push down the opacity all the way. And now you can see it's transitioning from white to our background image. And you can play around with the height until you get something that you think looks good. The next part is adding the app icon or logo. So I'm just going to add a rectangle. To add a rectangle, you can click on R on your keyboard. And if you want a exact square, you need to hold Shift. So let's go for 96 pixels and change the fill color to white. To center this, you can use the line icons over here, align layer to center, and we can round the corners a little bit. Let's go for, let's say, 20 pixels right now, and we can change that later on if we want. Looking good. I'm going to put my logo inside of this box, so I'm just going to click Image and select my logo file. Again, these files will be included in the description of the video. Next part, I'm going to take off the border from this rectangle. So just turn off the border on the right side over here. And instead, I'm going to add a shadow. So let's click plus over here and change the shadow color to the same as the logo color. So using the eyedropper, just going to click on that and you can see there's a nice shadow over here. Going to blur the shadow out, so going to use the blur field over here, and using the shift and the up key, it jumps 10 pixels each time. Let's try to reach 50, and I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll go for 60 even. I just want it to blur with the gradients in the background. So click the color over here and push down the opacity, just so it blends better. And you can see this is really subtle. So if I turn on and off the shadow by the checkbox, you can see how it looks before and after. The next part is going to be to put an onboarding slider, just so we can put some bullets to convince people to sign up to our app. So to do that, I'm just going to click the T button on my keyboard. And over here, we're going to put the title. So welcome to our app. And I'm going to change the font to medium. And the font size, let's go for, let's say 21. That looks good to me. For the color, I'll go for something dark, almost black. And I'm going to add another text for the description of this. Sign up now free and get full access to all our templates. Perfect. So this is the description text. Let's make sure everything's centered. So I'm just going to click on the title, click center, click on the description, click center. Over here for the description, I'm going to change it to regular text, and I'm going to push down the size to 14. Great, everything is looking awesome. Next thing is I'm going to add some bullets because I want this to be a slider. So to add bullets, I'm going to use the rectangle tool again, R on my keyboard, holding shift and pushing this out. Let's say 10 by 10. You can always change this later on over here. Let's make this completely rounded by pushing the radius all the way. And for the fill color, we can leave that gray right now. And I'm going to duplicate this. To duplicate it, Command D, and I'm holding the shift and pushing the right key. So that's how I duplicate. I'm going to do it again and do it again. Perfect. So we have 4 bullets over here. Let's make one of them selected. I'm going to change the color, eyedropper, and take the color of the logo. Great. Looking good. Let's group all of these. So I've selected all of them using the shift key. Click group on top over here, and I'm going to center it. Looks good. I think they're a bit big, so I'm going to lock the width and the height over here on the right side. This is for the whole group. And on the right side, I'm just going to push down the height to 8. And now that looks better to me. Let's center it again. And we can give the group a name. Let's say slider navigation. You can group this together with the text as well. And we'll call this slider. For the logo, we can also group the logo in the background and call this icon. Perfect. Everything seems to be looking awesome. The next thing is we're going to add 2 buttons for signing up. One is going to be a quick Facebook sign up, and the other one is going to be a manual sign up like you do in every website or app. So to add a button, I'm going to click R on my keyboard for the rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a random rectangle over here, and I'm going to use the width and the height to make the exact proportions for this. So for the width, I'm going for 100% at first. And for the height, I'm going to go for 55 pixels. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the padding that I want on the left and the right side. So for example, if I want a 50 pixel padding on each side, I need to subtract 100 pixels. So to do that, I'm going to add minus 100, click tab to accept the change. And now we've calculated this in the exact way. So now we have 50 pixels on the right and 50 pixels on the left. To make this rounded, I'm going to push the rounded corners gauge all the way up. And let's take off the border. Let's make the fill color the same as the logo. Looking awesome. Let's add some text. So T on the keyboard, and I'm going to type in sign up free. Sign up free now, maybe. Awesome. And over here, I'm going to center this and push it up using my mouse until it snaps to vertical and horizontal align. Change the text on the right side over here to white. Let's push it up to medium, and it's looking awesome. Let's add a shadow. So I'm just going to click on the plus over here for the shadow and choose the same color as the button itself, just to make it glow. So let's push up the blur, let's say to 40 pixels, and the Y coordinate I'm going to push up to 10. And now I can play around with the alpha key. So I'm going to push that down. I think the glow is a bit too big, so I'm going to play around with that until I get something that I'm satisfied with. Great, so 30 looks good to me. It just makes it glow a little bit. Now I'm going to duplicate this and use it for the Facebook button. So Command or Control D. And now while these two are selected, I'm going to push it down using the Shift and down key on my keyboard. Awesome. Let's do sign up, Facebook sign up. And now what we need to do is change the color over here to the Facebook color. I'm going to show you a quick hack. I'm jumping into my browser, my Chrome browser, and I'm going to search for a website that's called Brand Colors. Over here, if I'll search for the word Facebook, it will give me the Facebook color. I'm going to click on that once, copied it, jump back into Sketch, and I'm going to paste this color over here in the Facebook button. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the glow color so it will fit the foreground color, and push down the alpha key to 30 or 20. 30 looks good to me. And we're going to add a small little Facebook icon over here. So click Image, upload your icon. I use SVGs because they're vector. That's how you should work. You can download them from a website that's called the Noun Project, or from any other website that has vector graphics. To finish this off, we need to give an option for whoever is already signed up to log in. So I'm going to add some text. T on the keyboard. Let's make this gray color. Let's make it a little bit purplish, so like that. And I already have an account, and let's give him an option to click login. Perfect. Let's make the login link a different color by selecting it and sampling our purple call to action color. And what I'm going to do now is center this and drag it all the way down over here. So overall, I think this looks awesome. Now we can play around a little bit with the composition and the sizes of everything. So I'm just gonna drag these a little bit down. I think this looks pretty good. Maybe let's push that down. Maybe make this a little bit bigger. Awesome. So that looks pretty awesome, and I'm satisfied with what I've got. You guys tell me what you think, how you think this came out, and what you would change. If you want to practice, the link to the graphics is in the description. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to see you in the next video.